After 40 years as a high court judge, I hosted my retirement dinner. Just before the toast, I saw my ambitious nephew slip a white pill into my red wine. I pretended to drop my fork and swap the goblets. 5 minutes later, he stood up to speak and, "My name is Noah Adimi. I am 68 years old. I am an African man. For 40 years, I served as a high court judge. People described me as calm. Some said distant. Those who truly knew me understood that silence was my discipline. I believed words should carry weight. I believed justice should never rush. I was born in a coastal African town where the sea smelled of work and survival. My father was a dock laborer. My mother sold cooked food from a metal pot. They taught me patience before ambition, order before emotion. I studied law at night. I passed the bar before I owned a proper bed. At 28, I became one of the youngest judges in the state. At 35, I was already feared for my refusal to bend. I never married. The courtroom became my household. Case files replaced children. Judgments replaced celebrations. My younger brother Samuel was my weakness. He was gentle, dependent, a civil servant who struggled with finances. I paid for his education. I paid for his wedding. I paid school fees for his son. That son was Lucas. Lucas Adimi was 32 years old. African, handsome, ambitious. Too ambitious. I mentored him personally, gave him access to my private legal library, introduced him to senior advocates, warned him that shortcuts always demand interest later. He smiled and said the world belonged to the bold. Samuel died 12 years ago from a sudden stroke. After that, Lucas changed. His respect became calculation. His patience turned into hunger. Then came my retirement. After 40 years on the bench, the judiciary organized a formal retirement dinner in my honor. A private hall in a 5-star hotel. Crystal chandeliers, polished wood, quiet classical music, judges, politicians, senior lawyers, former defendants who had rebuilt their lives. All seated neatly. I requested sparkling water instead of alcohol. I never drank on formal occasions. It kept my senses clear. Lucas insisted on sitting beside me. He wore a navy blue suit beyond his income. A gold watch that caught the light too often. His fingers never stopped moving. Just before the official toast, I saw it. A small white pill, between his fingers, dropped carefully into my glass of sparkling water. I did not panic. I did not react. Years on the bench trained my body before my emotions. I pretended to drop my fork. It clattered loudly. Laughter followed. A waiter bent down. In that exact moment, I gently slid my glass aside and pulled Lucas's glass closer. The movement was slow, natural, invisible to everyone except me. 5 minutes later, Lucas stood up to speak. He raised the glass of sparkling water. He smiled confidently. He spoke about legacy, about youth replacing age, about how he would continue my work. Mid-sentence, his voice cracked. His eyes lost focus. The glass slipped from his hand. It shattered. Lucas collapsed in front of everyone. The hall erupted. Security moved. Doctors rushed in. An ambulance arrived. I stood calmly. I asked security to secure the table. I asked them to check the glasses. The pill was recovered. Security footage was reviewed. Lucas survived. But survival was only the beginning. The investigation revealed everything. Forgery, bribes, manipulated documents, plans to inherit my properties early, conversations recorded, messages saved. He believed my death would elevate him. The trial was public. I testified, not as a victim, but as a judge who understood consequence. Lucas was sentenced to 25 years. But justice does not end at sentencing. I sold my properties quietly. I donated most of my wealth to legal aid foundations. I left Lucas nothing. I visited him once in prison. He looked smaller, older, broken. I told him this: power borrowed from betrayal always collapses. I walked away. Now I live by the sea again. Simple house, simple life. I mentor young law students. I teach patience. I teach restraint. And every night, when the waves hit the shore, I remember that glass of sparkling water. Not with satisfaction, but with certainty. Justice never needs violence. It only needs time. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And tell me, what would you have done if you were in my place?